Everybody. Happy Monday. Oh my gosh, it's another Monday, and we are live right now. This is Coffee with Entrepreneurs. I'm here on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else that Restream lets me stream. Today I'm here with Dr. Soliman. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Mary.
Of course. So if you're here, if you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. I love hearing sometimes we get people from Australia and Europe and so that's really exciting. So if you're watching, if you're local, if you're international, let me know. I'm of course here in Brooklyn. And remind me, Dr. Solomon, where you are?
I am a refugee from New York, now in the beautiful South Jersey, and a refugee during the wonderful Corona time. I think it was, New York was the Corona land at the time. And so, around 1 million of us left, and we'll see.
So you're one of the ones that left. I'm the one of the ones that stayed.
Yes, you're a true New Yorker. You just put your flag and say, no, I'm staying here.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, I don't know who's right. We'll see what happens,
Yeah.
So for those of you who are watching, let us know how you take your coffee, because that's very important to me. And if you don't drink coffee, let me know how you start your day. I love hearing about entrepreneurs and how they wake up, right? What gets you up in the morning? What gets you going? That's really important. So that's my first question to you. How do you take your coffee?
My coffee here is surprisingly decaf and with sweetener.
Oh.
And I take it with milk, 1%, 2% whole milk, fine, but not half and half. So people say decaf doesn't have caffeine. Like, what's the point? I tell them, well, even decaf has 3% caffeine. So if you drink a lot of it, and I have my caffeine pills. And now it's and the idea is I can monitor my caffeine intake. And believe it or not, the caffeine pill can be 50 or 100 milligram. And one Starbucks, what's the medium size name? Not Grande is around 300 milligram. So I don't like this jittery thing, so I can take decaf and control the caffeine. Too nerdy,
Fair enough, right? Like decaf coffee plus caffeine pills. I mean,
exactly.
I'd hate to imagine what it's like with caffeine and caffeine pills. So
yep, happy pills. Yeah.
So that's awesome. I'm drinking a caramel latte.
Is that Dunkin' Donuts?
It is, yes. I'm not a Starbucks fan, so I'm. It's a little too bitter for me. It's a little too there's just something about it. So this is sweeter. It's so I drink Dunkin', or there are a couple local coffee shops that I like to support, because these days it's important to serve small businesses and support them.
Yeah. Do they deliver?
They do, yeah. So, here, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but Grubhub, Seamless, all the delivery is really great. So that's really nice. Is it like that in New Jersey?
Yes, for the most part. I try to avoid the buying from Grubhub just to keep tap on my budget.
Right.
And also to find an excuse to walk and to go grocery shopping. Because after time, the home becomes so comfortable that, after a year of being in this lockdown and working from home, you just say, yeah, I'll just stay in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of there. I understand. I'm kind of there. And I have I'm heller than I've ever been so I get it. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Who I am. I am many things. I'm a global citizen. So I hold 3 citizenships.
Wow.
And I lived in 3 continents, each at least 5 years. I am a physician, scientist, lifelong learner. My journey started with pharmacy. I still love pharmacy. Shout out to all the great pharmacists out there. You're one of the most underutilized resources
Yep.
in the community. God bless you. And from there, I just didn't see myself growing in pharmacy. Pharmacy has like the biggest passion for you is to have your own pharmacy. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, I need something where I can grow more. And that was research. So I went, did my master's in biochemistry in Alberta, Canada. And
Mhm.
people who do not know where Alberta is, it is next to Montana.
Mhm.
And then did my PhD in genetics in Toronto with the late Tony Pawson. And during that time, I have seen the impact of mental illness on scientists. It was really eye-opening experience, and that made me want to go back to my clinical roots.
Mhm.
And went and did my medical degree in the U.S. on the East Coast, and did my MBA too at the time. I said, why not? It's a good learning opportunity. I promise you, I'm not going to do the law school. No. Yeah. I said, yeah, that's it. And something I have done over the years and I still enjoy is coaching.
Yeah.
It didn't take a formal shape except for the pandemic. And I don't want to say I'm grateful because it's really tough time for everyone,
Sure.
but life is what you make out of it. We now have more time to do things that
Mhm.
we have thought about, but we never had time to do. So some people start writing books.
Right.
Just they
Right.
never had time to write a book. Some people start writing articles. And for me, it was formalizing my coaching into an like a practice, a formal practice, and with focus on career transition and efficiency management, not time management, but efficiency management.
Mhm.
And through the process, since I'm lifelong learner, I got certified from the International Coach Federation. So this way, I know exactly the difference between coaching and therapy and try not to cross the line between the two, which can easily be crossed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I know a few coaches who are also therapists,
Yeah.
also psychologists, right? Which is not a degree. If I'm understanding correctly, is not a degree that you have.
Psychologist? No,
Right.
no.
So,
Yeah.
so they're always really mindful of, okay, I'm going into coaching territory now, or I'm going into therapy territory. So that's
Exactly.
really interesting. It's
Yeah.
wow, what a career transition and what a career. My
Oh, thank you. Now in psychiatry, in terms of physician, love it.
yeah.
Love it.
So so that's really interesting. So I want to hear more about what it was like making that career transition into having a coaching practice during the pandemic.
It was inspiring and tiring. The inspiring part is it is new to me. So I didn't, despite the education in the MBA I had, starting your own practice is different. It's hands-on, and unlike in science we hypothesize, then we test
Mhm.
because the environment is controlled. In business, it is you test, then you hypothesize.
Right.
And that required a big mind shift,
Yeah.
huge mind. And I'm still in this mindset, like this transition. It's not, it's not easy. Academicians, yeah. So people out there listening to me, just be patient with academicians starting their own side gig because our brains just think differently.
Mhm.
And one of the first things is where how even to start something. And it happened. I was in, as you know, Mary, I have inflammatory bowel disease, and I was in one of my infusion sessions, and the gentleman sitting ahead of me, also around my age, and we would start talking, what brought you in, and turned out to be a business owner. And I asked him directly, how do you establish a company?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, this is easy. You go to this website, and that was the start. So anyone who thinks or is thinking or have ever thought about starting an entity for business, before you do it, it seems so overwhelming and you know where to start, but it is not as overwhelming as you
Right.
think, and it is not too expensive. In fact, very reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's like $200 on LegalZoom or something, right?
Yes, yeah. And during that time, I wasn't in the best financial situation, as with most people. 2020, so I went to be on the minimum cost in that sense. The other part, so now the establishment, is how to get the word out there. And if this will give anyone any hope, for people, especially who intentionally did not have any connection to the social media. I did not have any social media except LinkedIn until 2020, and that was intentional. I went to keep a distance so that I would not get distracted. But as you'll know, as you, Mary, know, in 2020, everything went,
Everything.
yeah,
Everything.
including applications,
Right.
medical communicate, everything social media. So I was learning hieroglyphics, emojis, like what? Even if there was like, it's like, what is this? Impression. I thought impression, like my impression.
Right.
It
Right.
turns out, no, you can count impressions. Like, what do you mean count impression? And thankfully, over the next 6 months, I managed to get my hands on the pulse, at least to some extent, and I'm still expanding. Um, but that's the second point. People who feel technophobic, like myself sometimes, or miss out on the digital marketing revolution, it is
Right.
never too late.
I love that.
And
And
yeah,
and what you're pointing to, right, is an agile way of thinking.
yeah,
Right. So
yes,
you didn't wait until you had it perfect. You didn't, say, okay, well, now I know how to start a business maybe in a year. You have your minimum viable offer, your minimum viable product, and you get out there and you just, you start the social media platforms, you open things up. And my hunch is that you were probably ahead of the game on LinkedIn, right?
no,
But
thank
every
you.
place else you have you try, right? And that's what I always stress, right? You try because you don't know. The best business strategists, right, they can give you is an educated guess and their educated experience. You don't know until you try.
Absolutely. I can't remember who said that. Was it Paul Graham who said, maybe someone else, strategy is the way of procrastination, something like that. It's like the best way to procrastinate. And in a sense, yes. And this is what we do in science: is you have to design the experiment really well, because the cost of stopping, say, a clinical trial midway through
Yeah.
because you didn't
Yeah.
account for something is insane. And you are dealing obviously with human beings. So
Right.
you
Right.
can't just say, oh, sorry, yeah, you're dead. It's now in heaven, so they can't come back. But in in uh, in this thing, um, no, you can. I mean, there is no like, yes, there will be downside of a cost, and seek help. This is the third point, and you know this, Mary. When I didn't know about social media,
Mhm.
I reached out and I said, yeah, even if there is no big budget, there are freelance on platforms like Fiverr. I think Outwork, is that what it is? The other
Upwork,
one?
yeah.
Outwork, yeah.
Upwork, Outsource. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So they can help you know the language
Right.
and move from there.
Right.
So that is I think these were the inspiring and still tiring part, because you're still learning. Uh, and from it came the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that was something that also came as a trial. Like,
And you have this show that's got your episodes get a lot of views. They're very popular. So
thank you.
all that was built in a year.
Yeah, in actually less. It's the show started. My company started August 2020. The show September 2020, and we are talking early April now. So yes, it's
Wow. So it's that recent.
it
That
is
recent and
recent.
it's
Yeah,
doing that well. That's fantastic. That's
thank you.
and what you've done is this is something that Dory Clark speaks to, who you and I both, who's been on a guest. She's been a guest on yours, right?
Yes, yeah.
So
Big shout out to her.
Yeah, Dory.
People who don't know who Dory Clark is, just go and look up her website. Yeah. Boy, she is something. She's a machine.
Yeah, and I feel like all roads in my life lead back to Dory Clark. So
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, she says you don't, you have to get out there, right? Because imagine if today, right? Today, what's today? April 5th.
April 5th, yeah.
Imagine if you were today hadn't started all that, right? You had said, oh, well, I guess I should start a show. Well, you would have lost that, 7 months of iterating and trying. And you make mistakes and nobody does things perfectly, and that's totally fine. But you're out there now, so
and if this will give,
oh my gosh, congratulations on starting a business during the pandemic. That's awesome.
I'll tell people something that hopefully will give them inspiration about failure. So as you mentioned, Dory is a common friend, and she was my first guest on the show. And I'm talking to Dory Clark, so it's something. And believe it or not, because obviously I didn't know much about social media, after recording the whole thing, no video recorded.
Oh no.
It was only the audio. And I still trying to learn what the Zoom platform is. And she was gracious to share the audio with me. And then we managed to make the podcast on the YouTube. And from that point on, thankfully, I knew now where to click things. But to your point, Mary, nothing will be perfect first, and it can be very embarrassing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was like, what is this? And but it's almost part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. And look, things happen, right? I've had actually the last show that I did, my internet went out during the conversation, and thank goodness I had 2 guests that day. And so they stayed on, and they had and then I was able to come back into the restream room. But let me tell you, it's embarrassing. Like
Where's the host?
And
Where's the host? Yeah.
I felt terrible, and of course they handled it. It was totally fine, but it was that kind of thing. It happens, right? And it happens to the best of us. It happens to people who've been in business for 5 years and or 10 years or longer, and they have redundant internet and all these things, and it happens to the newbies, right?
Yes. It is what's called the Murphy's Law.
Yeah, exactly. Anything
it's there
will go wrong.
There. Yeah. It just, you need to make either fun of this, take it lighthearted,
right,
or just absorb it, because it is, it's going to happen.
Right. Or you can move into your hall closet and never do anything.
Exactly.
So, the choice is one or the other. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather mess up and be a little embarrassed and do something amazing one day than be at home and be bored. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially in the COVID time, like what else would you do?
right, exactly.
Yes, especially there are many things you can do now with low barrier to entry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Many, like this, Restream is free. There are free options.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can have a conversation with a colleague, professional colleague, in something that's interesting in your life or their life, and then the ball starts rolling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You know, and one of the great things about this year, you know, people have started businesses, they have come online. So I commend you. I commend you for starting a business this year. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to shift to something that you said.
Yes.
You said not managing your time, but managing your efficiency.
Yes,
And
correct.
I didn't want to let that go because I'm so tired of the 5 a.m. club and the Pomodoro technique and the you know,
Time blocking.
exactly.
Yes.
Tell me what that means.
I'll tell you something. Yeah, especially when people who are in healthcare or in business will know this. This is not a 9 to 5 or even 9 to 6. This is 24/7 on your brain.
Mhm.
And the same with patients. You don't just buy and the patient is no. It's on your brain all the time. And one big theory, and it's still there, is that we can manage time. But reality is time is unmanageable. Why? Because it's 24 hours.
Mhm.
It's not going to change. There is a way we can manage time. If we all as human species decided the day is 30 hours, then it will be interesting experiment to see, okay,
Right.
are we going to sleep 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours by the old or the new one?
Right.
Okay, but until then, the minute is the minute, the second is the second, and the hour is the hour. So what we can really control are two things: the mental energy, so it's energy management, and task demands.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if we are machines and the mental energy is the same from the moment we wake up until we sleep, there are a few exceptions like this, like Dory Clark. God bless you, Dory. You can work nonstop. But
I don't know how she does what she does, but yeah.
it might be the caffeine pill. I don't know, but it's amazing. God bless you. Um, that we can go with time management unless we really have the same energy throughout the day.
Right.
The other thing is the nature of the tasks. The nature of the task, unless they are of similar demand, we can't also apply the time blocks. I'll give you an
Mm.
example. Did this before the COVID time? Did you ever had this situation where I forgot the umbrella, or I forgot the keys, or I forgot something, and you have to go home? And so, if you have time block, you will feel guilty for the rest of the day because, well, there are 45 minutes already lost
Mhm. Mhm.
in this. So, um, time block works for certain things. Meetings,
Mhm.
yes.
Right.
Courses, absolutely. Deadlines. But the better way of doing it is focusing on energy, because energy is flexible.
Mhm.
We also know from all elementary school, or I'm not sure if they teach this anymore these days, but energy is renewable,
Mhm.
and energy does not go away, just converts from one form to the other. And so if you have low energy, you can do a few stretches, you can meditate. Some people do a little bit of cooking. It doesn't have to be big. It just gives them this energy,
Right.
and they can continue. But
Right.
time, if an hour by our standards is lost, there is no way I can get it back. If I left my keys and I have to get them, I'm done.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the sense of guilt that comes with it is unusual. So I think that's the philosophy that's based on at least facts that
Mhm.
we know from science.
I like this approach. You know, because I know for myself, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur. I can time block, you know, and I do this. I usually work on my content in the morning. right?
Yeah.
So content for the day, content for the week happens in the morning.
Right.
But what if I get a phone call or a client has an emergency or, you know, like what happened to me last month, my roof started leaking.
Oh,
You know, so things happen, and as people who, you know, do business for a living, right? Things happen. So I like this much better because I can redirect my energy and not feel guilty that I didn't spend my morning doing the content, right? Or whatever it is.
yes. And you can take this energy, say, okay, this happened. I still have the opportunity to do it. And then the question becomes then how I can maintain my energy or how I can renew my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is doable. The thing about this though, because as you know, people would ask me, okay, but there are so many things to do to renew energy. I tell them yes, so choose one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can combine two in one, that's okay. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
how would you renew your energy when you are tired in the afternoon, Mary?
Well, I have a very weird thing that I do. I have a VR headset and I either meditate on it or I play a workout game. So,
Oh,
so I
cool.
literally just get up and for 15 minutes I play a game, or you know, and it so I get to work out and I get to renew my energy.
So it's like a wee game.
Exactly, except you put a headset on and it's, you know, it's the 360. It's called Supernatural. So it's you like hit
Ah,
targets and stuff. Yeah.
terrific. So
Mhm.
you are here combining
Mhm.
two or three things. You are mindful of
Yeah,
what you do.
right.
So that's mindfulness. You are doing exercise, workout,
Mhm.
um, and you are taking your eyes away from that screen and putting it in. I assume it's like a bigger distance
Yeah,
between you and the
exactly.
screen. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's an ideal one. So people
Yeah,
who would like to do the biggest two, usually that people would like to do are exercise and meditation. So
right.
I tell them combine both
Mhm. Mhm.
because you can work out with your mind in your business or with your mind with music
Right.
or literally your mind with your muscles.
Mhm. Mhm.
So just be into the moment. And both meditation exercise have been shown repeatedly by
Yeah.
studies to improve energy, focus. It's not like it's something oh the first time we hear about this. So if
Yeah.
you have one or two combined, but spreading your energy renewal strategies in over 7 or 8 of them can actually lead to being overwhelmed.
Mm. That's interesting. Okay, interesting. And it you know, it's funny because I've struggled with feeling guilty, right? Feeling guilty about, well, I could really be using these 15 minutes for, you know, to answer an
Yeah.
email or whatever, right? To pay my bills, to whatever. But the truth is that I'm actually better. I serve people better. I'm in a better mood. I'm more responsive when I do take that 15 minutes or whatever it is, right? So,
It's
um, I like this strategy, and I feel like you've just given me permission to go take like 3 breaks today. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. And to your point, Mary, the English people would say, "Don't save a penny to lose a pound," like
Right,
The
right.
Egyptian pound or English pound. Um, you might be losing 3 hours in the afternoon just being sluggish
Yeah,
because you didn't take 10, 15 minutes
right,
to renew your energy.
right.
And it's almost short-term gain for long-term loss.
Right, right. And those 3 hours, I guarantee you, those 3 hours that you know, we didn't take the 15-minute break, so we worked for 3 hours. I guarantee you the work's not that great. It's nobody feels good about it, you know, and you don't show up well, right? So if I show up to a meeting with you, you know, I could have showed up tired today. Like I did. I just worked out a little while ago, you know, so I could have showed up tired today. We wouldn't have had a good conversation. You probably would have been like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, yeah. She's
You
like,
know?
yeah. Yeah.
And so just that few minutes that I took this morning really changed this outcome, and for sure any other outcome that we're going to have throughout the day.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
These few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, how energizing there could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. So tell me, who do you like to work with? What gets you up in the morning?
What gets me up in the morning? Knowing that what I'm doing is meaningful.
Yeah.
It is bigger than me,
Mm-hmm.
and something that I could know for living because of my education could be completely novel to someone because they didn't have the same opportunity.
Right.
And I find this extremely gratifying.
Awesome. I love that. Can't ask for a better answer than that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And who's your ideal client?
Someone who is professional,
Mm-hmm.
with advanced degree would be a plus because they will be in the same mindset, but doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Who loves independence, who is not looking for spoon feeding,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking for solutions on one hand, but they also have this cognitive dissonance. I want to find the solution on my own. So it becomes more of me guiding, and they are reaching the solution on their own. Who are either looking for managing up or changing career
Mm-hmm.
laterally, or people who are neither, but they are looking for efficiency management.
Awesome. Well, if you're one of those people, reach out to Dr. Soliman. And I can pretty much guarantee you'll have a good time. Um,
Thank you. Thank you, very
so
appreciate it.
I have your social media handle up, Dr. Soliman MD. How else can people reach out to you?
The Instagram at Dr Soliman MD,
Mm-hmm.
Fastway, LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
same. I believe it's the same handle. Also, I think those will be the two fastest way you can reach to me, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was really wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Mary. Oh, I didn't ask you, if you don't have the latte, what would you have as a coffee?
Oh, if I didn't, so I have a coffee maker here. So I make my own lattes basically.
Oh, you make, okay. So you don't have like black or regular coffee? No, it has
No,
to be a latte.
I love. I'm partly Italian, so I
Yeah.
love espresso drinks. So that's
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you like espresso at all or no?
I do like espresso.
Yeah.
I can drink espresso straight, but I don't like black coffee. It's the weirdest thing because
Yeah.
espresso's stronger. So
Yes. Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. 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 And
so
it's not good for your stomach too.
but I do like the fancy caramel and sweeteners and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, you know. And that's more a preference than anything. Like I just like sweet things. So
Yes. Yes. Oh, lattes are delicious.
so yeah. So yeah, and it's a simple like coffee made espresso machine. So
And
yeah,
it heats up the milk for you.
exactly. You can find
Yes.
milk and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I wake up in the morning.
Oh, yes, yes. I think if there will be a war one day, it's not about nuclear weapons, but if there is no coffee or a country said we're not going to export coffee, I think that will be a World War III
Yeah.
because people will not be able to function. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
I find that I think better. I like, all
Yep.
kidding aside, I find that I think better with caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And we know that physiologically.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
can concentrate better. I'm more alert. I'm more aware. I'm more creative. So
yeah.
I need it. I need
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Better
Some
not
people,
be.
yeah, they can't socialize even without, like, they need to wake up so they can communicate. Before
Right.
having the morning coffee, like, don't talk to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so I think I'm probably gonna go get another coffee soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for being here. This was wonderful.
Thank you. Appreciate it.